So hello! On this channel we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster, and in today's video I am bringing something maybe a little bit different. Maybe you haven't seen it before. Honestly, I haven't searched to see if other people had thought about something like this, but this is a list of some things that nobody tells you about being a witch, at least in my opinion, things that you discover along the way as you go. And I thought it would be interesting to bring those topics and discuss them with you so we could exchange some ideas, and also for the newbies that do follow the channel to take a moment and reflect about those details. Wait a minute! Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself! Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon. And over there I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. I do apologize for the lighting. I know that it's not ideal. Usually I film during the day, but today I was crazy busy and I could not film while we still had light outside. I'm still getting used to the days getting shorter because we are slowly progressing into fall season. But without any further ado, let's dive into the list. So the first thing that nobody tells you about being a witch, a practitioner, is when it comes to learning and researching. Actually, I want to make a video talking exclusively about that because at the very beginning of all my videos, one of the first things that I say is that on this channel we talk about independent spirituality, and that part, independent, is a part that many people don't seem to understand. And I see on the comments that many people seem to want witchcraft and spiritual content creators to spoon-feed everything to them, and that's not how it works. The purpose of the channel is to give you the fundamental tools. You are going to take those tools and uncover things yourself. It's like my channel is a toolbox, or I'm trying to make it so. And you are going to grab the screwdriver in a video, and then the hammer on another video, and you see the nails in another video. You are going to grab those pieces and you are going to go ahead and build something for yourself on your own. And what does that mean? It's precisely about researching and learning, which is an individual process. I became I am at the stage where I am now spiritually. I'm no guru or master or as I usually say, owner of the truth, the absolute truth. I'm not. I'm also learning along the way. We are learning together, just at different paces and different levels maybe. But I just I lost myself in what I was saying, but I remembered. So I got to the point where I am now, not because I was going after my favorite witchy YouTubers and asking them tons of questions, but because I took the tools that I found along my way and I built something with them. I took knowledge that my mom passed down to me. I took knowledge from the books I've read. I took knowledge from the occult creators that I admire. I put all of that together and I built something of my own through practicing, through oh, this book is telling me something. I am going to take this piece of information, I am going to do it, I am going to perform what the book is telling me, and I'm going to see what the results will be. Oh, there's this spirit that belongs to my culture. I'm gonna go ahead and try and connect with them, and like knowing that we have a connection. Okay, it's not just some random spirits from closed practices, it's stuff that I could do. So I just decided to go ahead and reach out and see what would happen. This thing of being a witch or spiritual practitioner is all about fuck around and find out. You have to do stuff. You have to go see for yourself. You have to be your own scientist, as iVideo Cultist usually says, because you get to perform your experiments with spells and whatnot. You have to put your face in the sun and discover things yourself, okay? Like for example, now I am reading Of Blood and Bones. There are some things here that are fascinating, and I am learning so much from this book. I am going to make a book review for sure as soon as I finish it. I am loving it. I'm having such a good time with this book, and I am like taking pieces of information from it. I'm not just passively reading the information. I am learning and I am putting to practice what the book is telling me. I'm not gonna go into much detail. I will save that information for the book review, but it's not about just grabbing the book, reading it like it was a novel or something, and not put anything to practice ever. So you gotta research and you gotta learn and you gotta better yourself through practicing. And I think that's maybe not talked about enough. It's not just about you passively consuming content in books, on YouTube, or whatever other mediums that you look for. I don't know, courses, seminars, I don't know. You have to do your own research, go after information on your own, learn things on your own, and one of the best teachers that exists, one of the best ways for us to learn things is doing them, okay? And like, this is why it is called witchcraft. It is something that you work on. It is something that you develop through practicing, through doing it, through crafting it. It is called a craft for a reason. Just like, think a minute. You have to put in the effort as well, okay? Oh yeah, I think I just called out a few people right now, and that's the precise intention that I had. Next up, something that maybe you don't really expect when you're just when you are starting out, is when it comes to developing your own spells and rituals. So there are many books of spells out there, and I teach some spells not only here on YouTube. There's a playlist called Simpatia Book, which in which I show classic Brazilian folk magic spells, but also on Patreon I have a playlist called Spells by the Moon, in which I share spell tutorials every full and new moon every month. So sharing spells, sharing stuff that worked for us and maybe it could work for other people as well. It is part of being a practitioner, I think. It is part of sharing information and wanting other people to have the results that you got. I think it is normal, and there's no harm in getting a book of spells of some sort, but don't limit yourself to that. I think that many practitioners out there allow themselves to stop at the spells, the books of spells, my god. Many practitioners out there, they get a couple of books of spells and they never develop anything from there. Like, if you see a spell in a book, which I do frequently, I have done spells, like for example from the book Moon Spells, which there's a review here on the channel. I'm gonna link it up here and down in the description in case you haven't seen it already. But yeah, I've used spells from that book, I've had results, but I didn't do everything 100% verbatim. I adapted. I used herbal correspondences with plants that I already worked with or plants that were readily available for me rather than exactly what was listed in the book. So don't let yourself be stopped or limited rather by what books of spells tell you to do. Also, there's something very unique and very special about you creating your own spells and rituals, because that becomes, I would say, extra powerful due to the fact that you are putting everything together very intentionally. You are choosing everything with much care, with much more thought, and you know the why behind of every item, behind every step that you're gonna take in the ritual. So all of that intention and thought process makes the spell or the ritual much more potent. So developing your own spells and rituals is something so powerful that you should not neglect it, okay? You should not rely solely on books of spells and expect them to have a solution for every problem or every issue that you might experience, okay? Go ahead and get your hands dirty by crafting. Again, there's that word again, crafting your own spell casting process, your own rituals. Now, there's something that people don't comment on enough, in my opinion, definitely, which is that working with spirits is not for everybody. The path of a spiritual practitioner, the path of a witch, is an unusual one. Most definitely. Because, yeah, can you do witchcraft only with herbs and elements and, I don't know, never reaching out to spirits or deities or, you know? Are you able to do that? Yeah, absolutely. There are many practitioners who do not deal with spirits whatsoever. That's how they like to perform their magic. And that's all right. You know why? Because you are a spirit too, going through a human experience. We are spirits too. That's why we can perform magical acts in the first place. There's that little, you know, something about us. We just happen to have a physical body for the time being. But in my humble opinion, working with spirits makes things extra special and extra powerful. Spirits who do not have a physical body, they can do things that we can't. They have more knowledge than we do. They can go farther. They can see farther than we can. So I think it is something extremely advantageous to have in your, like, as part of your practice. Partnerships with spirits or deities. That's super helpful. That's super interesting also. I am fascinated by the process. I learn so much every passing day by reaching out to spirits or deities. So this is something that I really like to do, and I enjoy the experiences that belong to that. However, it's exactly those very experiences that are not for everybody because they can be a little bit scary if you're not prepared. So you can develop spirit work step by step, starting with your ancestors. I already have videos about ancestor work here on the channel. I'm gonna link them up in the cards and down in the description in case you haven't seen them already. Start with, okay, Aster, I want to do spirit work. What do I do? How do I start? Start with your ancestors, okay? It is the safest and it is the easiest, I would say. So start with that, and then you build up over time. Before you know it, you're gonna be reaching out to spirits that are from, like, outside of your spiritual team. You're going to be reaching out to deities. Before you notice, you're gonna be, like, completely comfortable and just doing everything without like a second thought. But once you start practicing and you start getting the attention from the unseen and, like, attention from the other side of the veil, you start getting noticed by entities and spirits, and they do come over to check up on you and see what's going on and what you're doing. And that can be a little bit frightening, and it's not for everybody. I think that some people are like, they just don't have it in them to be seeing or feeling or hearing or whatever, experiencing the presence of spirits in some way, shape, or form. I have had some very interesting experiences when it comes to spirits, especially recently. I have a mirror here. It's not in the frame. Let me see if I can show you. There's my mirror. This is my spellcasting area, and right in front of all of that, here's my altar. And at first, I decided to leave the mirror unlocked just to see what would happen, right? I'm gonna save those stories for one of these spooky tales series, which is like the series of videos in which I share paranormal experiences that we've had as practitioners, the subscribers and I and everything. It is a very interesting series to have and to make and to share. So I think I'm gonna save those stories for the next episode of Spooky Tales. But yeah, if those things had happened to me some years ago, I would have freaked out so hard because I was not prepared. So yeah, you can become prepared and okay with that kind of experiences over time and not freak out when being visited by weird entities that you did not invite. But it can also be very scary if you're not prepared or if you don't have the intention of ever being prepared. Some people are just afraid of spirits, period. They don't have any intention of changing that. So yeah, the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is that dealing with spirits is not for everybody, and that's okay. If you don't feel like being in contact with entities of any kind, that's okay, and that doesn't make you less of a practitioner, okay? You are still a witch, you are still doing your thing, and that's exactly what a witchcraft practice is supposed to be. You doing you doing your thing, you doing things the way you believe is best for you and for the results that you want. If you don't feel like being in touch with spirits, that's okay, because that experience is not for everybody. Another thing that I believe is not talked about enough and kind of escapes the understanding of many people who are trying to get into practicing witchcraft is that spells, rituals, spirit work, whatever, those things, they will not fix your life for you overnight and if you don't put in any effort, okay? Magic exists. I have results from the things that I do, but the crucial detail is the magical meeting the mundane halfway. So, like for example, I remember I made an offering months ago to get a job. It was a crossroads offering. So yeah, I did the offering, I did what I had to do, but would I have gotten the job if I hadn't sent the application, if I didn't look for it, if I didn't write a CV and like cover letter? Would I have gotten an interview? Would I have gotten the job if I didn't show up for the interview, if I wasn't presentable or reasonable at the interview? You see what I'm trying to say here? Yes, I did a spell, an offering in order to get a job, but at the same time, I put in the necessary efforts for both things meeting halfway and me being able to get the job I was asking for. That's just an example. I think that many people who are encountering and discovering about witchcraft nowadays, they get fascinated by the aesthetics and all those pretty women talking about how powerful they are becoming each passing day and how they are able to achieve goals through magic and self-empowerment. But they forget that this is not an overnight miracle and that we're just sitting here without doing anything. We just light a candle and there we go. You're rich overnight. No, that's not how it works. You need to put in the effort. You need to do your part of the deal in order to obtain a result. So I think that it's kind of pointless to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Stop thinking that magic, witchcraft, spirituality will fix your life, make you like untouchable, like you're not gonna have any kind of problem ever again, and your life will be sorted out overnight, because that's not the case. I still have problems. I am still struggling through many things. I don't have my life figured out, even though I am a practitioner and I obtain many results from my practice. Everything is a process, and the things that I am aiming for need to meet halfway, like magical and mundane, and I am working on that. So in Brazil, there is this expression that the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. I think that also works in English. And that's that, okay? You can't expect success if you don't put in smart choices and effort. Another thing that must be commented on, and we don't really expect when we decide to embrace this spiritual journey of being a witch, and that's not something that people are going to tell you necessarily, it is something that you're gonna figure out on your own as you go, is that the path of a witch is a solitary one. You know, this is something that is kind of being a thing in my life currently. The understanding of why practitioners usually choose to keep their practice to themselves and not go public about it, and not let regular people know that they practice. I am kind of understanding why, because people are afraid of things that they don't know, of things that they don't understand. I also plan on making a video talking exclusively about that, but society, regular society, let's say, people are judgmental, people are narrow-minded, and they will judge you for being spiritual. There will be people who maybe will make fun of you because you believe in that crap and that nonsense and crap. There will be people who will be afraid of you, and you can experience some level of bullying, rejection, and exclusion from your peers at school or work if they find out that you are a practitioner. And that's a very hard pill to swallow. That's something difficult to deal with, because solitude is something nice in the correct amounts, but at the end of the day, we are still human beings, and we are social creatures, like it or not. Our health, our physical and mental well-being needs social exchange, social interaction, and the feeling of belonging. So when you feel rejected by your peers because you are a practitioner, it is something painful. But then again, do you really want to surround yourself with people who will only accept a diluted version of who you are? I have noticed that being a practitioner kind of becomes part of our identity. It becomes something very big in our lives and very important. So it becomes very closely attached to who we are as a person, as people. So having to hide that, it kind of doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I would advise you to not be open about being a witch everywhere you go, because not everywhere, like not every circle that you are a part of will be open-minded about you being a witch. There will be people who will ridicule you for that, and people who will be afraid of you because of that. And neither of those are things that you want to experience, because they are painful, period. So I would suggest you being careful about the places where you decide to share that part of yourself, because not everybody will be as welcoming and open-minded as you would expect them to be. There's a reason why, there are many reasons why witches were hunted down and burned during Inquisition, and fear was one of those reasons. Judgment, thinking less of something that people don't know, so on and so forth. All of those things were reasons why so many women were killed during Inquisition times. fear can cause harm, okay? So I know that there's a good part, there's a good side to it. If somebody is afraid of you, they're gonna think twice before they fuck with you. So that's a good thing, but the downside is being excluded, and that's painful. So yeah, being a witch can be something solitary. Doesn't mean lonely, of course. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and there are people who are like you, who will not judge you and who will cherish you for being exactly who you are. I have amazing friends who embrace me and love me the way I am. My mother is extremely supportive of my practice and of my channel even. So there will always be people who love you and accept you for who you are, but it's not everybody. So preserve yourself and choose carefully where, when, and with who you are going to share that part of your life, if ever you're gonna share it with them, okay? So these are the things that, in my opinion, nobody tells you about being a witch. If I forgot something, or if you think there's something that should have been on this list, please share your thoughts in the comment section below, okay? Thank you so much for watching, and remember, practice makes perfect. So let's go witching. Bye bye.